At 9:30 p.m. on a full moon night, 3 young warriors entered the Rio Negro. 2 returned silent, trembling, their eyes fixed on nothing. The third one, my nephew Tupã, was never seen again. But every full moon, we hear him, singing, down beneath the black waters. I am Kanauã, shaman of my village, and I have lived in this forest for more than 60 moons. And this is the story of my nephew Tupã, a strong, fearless young warrior who knew every curve of this river as well as he knew the lines on his own hand. But on that full moon night, he forgot the most important rule: never, ever answer the call of the Iara. It was a dry season of 2019. Tupã was 19 years old and had just been recognized as a warrior of the village. He and 2 other young men, Cal and Iara, decided to fish at midnight at the curve of the Great Cobra, where the fish are plentiful. I called them before they left. Tonight is a full moon. The Iara sings on full moon nights. Take the sacred maraca. If you hear the song, shake the maraca and paddle back. Do not look at the water. Do not respond to the call. The 3 laughed at my warning. Tupã hugged me and said, "Uncle, I respect the spirits, but I also know how to defend myself." He didn't know that against the Iara, there is no defense for the one she chooses. They reached the curve of the Great Cobra around 10 p.m. The moon was so bright, they didn't need lanterns. The water reflected the sky perfectly. Cal told me later that everything was peaceful during the first 2 hours. They fished well. They filled half the canoe. But then midnight arrived. Iara was the first to notice. Do you guys hear that? Cal heard nothing. But Tupã froze, staring at the water. It's a woman singing," he whispered. Cal grabbed the maraca immediately and began shaking it. The sacred sound echoed through the forest. Iara grabbed Tupã's arm. "Don't look at the water. Let's go." But it was too late. Tupã slowly turned his head toward the riverbank, and then he saw her. "She's beautiful," Tupã said, his voice distant, as if he were no longer there. Cal looked too. He swore to me he didn't want her, but his eyes were pulled, and he saw a woman on the riverbank, long black hair down to her waist, bronze skin glowing under the moon. She was smiling and singing, but something was wrong. Her eyes were completely green, a bright, glowing green, like living emeralds. And from the waist down, she was in the water. But it wasn't the water hiding the rest of her body. It was a tail, a huge fishtail, silver scales reflecting the moonlight. The Iara, "Tupã, no!" Cal shouted, but my nephew was already standing in the canoe. As if hypnotized, he stepped toward the riverbank. Iara tried to hold him, but Tupã pushed him away with inhuman strength. Cal kept shaking the maraca desperately, and then the Iara stopped singing. She opened her arms, and Tupã jumped into the water. Cal and Iara screamed. They paddled to where Tupã had jumped, but he was gone. The water was completely still, like glass, without a single ripple, and the Iara had vanished. The 2 dove in, searched, yelled Tupã's name until their voices broke. Nothing. At 1 a.m., Cal and Iara returned to the village, without my nephew, without words. They staggered in, drenched, their eyes empty. They sat in front of the loca and stayed there, motionless like stone statues. I approached them, touched Kal's shoulder. "Where's Tupã?" Cal didn't answer. His lips trembled, but no sound came out. Iara began to cry silently, tears running without pause. I brought them inside, gave them water, sacred smoke, healing chants. Nothing worked. They were trapped somewhere between this world and the spirit world. It was only at 2 a.m., after an hour of ritual, that Cal finally managed to speak. And what he said froze my blood. "Kanauã, she's real. The Iara is real. And she didn't let him die." "What do you mean?" I asked, gripping his shoulders. Cal took a deep, shaking breath. When Tupã jumped into the water, we dove after him. And down there, I saw it. There was a green light coming from the bottom of the river, and I saw Tupã being pulled downward by it. He wasn't fighting. He was smiling, like he was in a trance. And then she looked at me, those bright green eyes, staring at me from under the water. And I heard her voice inside my head. He chose me, but you, I release. Go, and tell what you saw. So everyone knows, the Rio Negro has its queen, and she claims her tribute. After that, everything went dark. When I woke up, I was on the surface, with Iara pulling me into the canoe. That same night, I went alone to the curve of the Great Cobra. I brought offerings, sacred tobacco, calm, white flowers that only bloom under the moon. I lit a fire on the riverbank and smoked my sacred pipe, and I called Iara, Mother of the Waters, Guardian of the River. I asked permission to speak. She appeared. She rose slowly from the water, just a few meters from me. Her green eyes studied me. She did not smile. She did not sing. Shaman Kanauã, I know why you are here. I asked about Tupã. I begged for his life. She spoke with a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. He answered my call. He chose me. Now he lives in my realm. But is he alive? I asked, trembling. He exists, but not as you remember. He belongs to me now. He sings with me. He guards my palace. He is happy in the only way I allow. I asked to see him one last time. The Iara finally smiled, a sad smile. Every full moon, Kanauã, come at midnight, and you will hear him. And she submerged, as if she had never been there. Since then, every full moon, I return to the curve of the Great Cobra, and I hear him, Tupã's voice, blended with hers, rising from beneath the dark waters. Some river dwellers have heard it too. They say that on full moon nights, you can see bright green lights glowing at the bottom of the river, and hear voices, dozens of voices, singing together. All the men the Iara has taken over the centuries, all trapped in her underwater kingdom, forever. The Iara is not evil, but she is not good either. She is a force of nature, an ancient guardian of the river. The elders say she was once human, a warrior of my people many generations ago, betrayed by her own brothers and thrown into the river to die. But the river didn't let her die. The river transformed her. It gave her eternal beauty, power over the waters, and a call no man can resist. But I have learned one thing over the years. The Iara does not take just anyone. She chooses, and she always chooses the strongest, the bravest, the most handsome, those who believe they can defy the spirits. Tupã was all of that. Cow and Iara were never the same. Cow could never fish again. Every time he goes near the river, his hands tremble and he hears whispers, the call of the Iara still echoing in his mind. Iara remained mute for 3 months. When he finally spoke again, his voice was different, hoarse, as if something had been torn from his throat. They escaped with their lives, but something in them died that night. And Tupã lives, in some way, in the depths of the Rio Negro, singing forever. And me, I still come here every full moon, not to bring my nephew back. I know that is impossible, but to remember that this forest, this river, they do not belong to us. We belong to them, and that there are forces here older than any of us, forces we must respect. Always subscribe to this channel, like this video, and tell me in the comments, do you believe in Iara? Have you ever heard her song? And if you live near rivers, be careful on full moon nights, because the call of the Iara is irresistible, and whoever answers never returns. I am Kanauã, guardian of the mysteries of the night in the Amazon forest, and as long as the forest breathes, I will continue telling its stories. The stories it whispers only to those who know how to listen. The forest listens. The forest watches. The forest never forgets. forest never sleeps until the next moon.